Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. And today we are here to discuss something a little bit different, but of course still L word themed. And this is, I don't want to say like this is the first in a series and be all serious, but I have a couple of videos kind of like this that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. And just to also let you know, this week is probably the last week that you're going to see this kind of very standard quality in especially like the visual aspect, as I have ordered my new camera and it is coming this week and it's a big step up for the channel, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And you don't want to miss out on any of those high def 4K videos, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy the video at any point, you give it a like and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. So what are we here to discuss? I had this kind of idea batting around in my head for this video, and it's definitely something that I got the idea from some things that I'd seen on Twitter and Instagram and things, but the point of this video is lies the L word has told me, and you know, a lot of them are funny, you know, it's a bit of a joke. There are some serious ones, but I'm not sitting here super mad and angry that, you know, my life isn't exactly as the L word told me it would be. So it's a little bit of a laugh and then also some serious points as well. So I hope that you guys take it just as that. So we're going to break this down top 10 style, and number 10 is the L word definitely led me to believe that there were a lot more lesbian, in particular, bars, nightclubs, restaurants, etc. in the world than there is, because especially, you know, the planet was in every season of the original L word. Everybody hung out there. They had daytime things there, they had evening time things, and then also in the 5th season there was not only the planet, there was the rival lesbian bar and there's, you know, a lot of other things portrayed. They go to a lot of theme nights and everything like that, and in reality there really is not a lot of lesbian bars in the entire US. And LA itself now does not have a lesbian bar. I know there's some like nights that are done, but obviously at the moment there's none. But it just, you know, there's definitely not some lesbian club rivalry going on. And even I used to live in Tampa. We had, you know, in actual Tampa, we had G Bar and the Honey Pot. We had a Hamburger Mary's. But it was normally like Friday night was girls' night and then Saturday night was guys' night, and then the other club would reverse that. So, you know, you'd go to one on a Friday and the other on a Saturday. And then of course, you know, Tampa is very close to Orlando, so Pulse, when I was in university, that, you know, was a big place to go. So there were a good few in Tampa, and the place where most of the bars were was a place called Ybor, which is spelled Y-B-O-R, and had the nickname Gay Bar. But again, predominantly gay men's clubs, and I even used to live next door to, it was like an older man's gay bar, and I was always the only lesbian in there. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, not out here like the Planet and She Bar, so the L word has to answer for that one. Number 9 is another thing that the L word led me to believe there was a lot of, and that is just gay media, gay publications, gay books, gay magazines, that there was a lot more and a lot more mainstream that the show kind of led us to believe. I mean, even taking the topic of just television, and the L word, again, as everyone knows, was rebooted with Generation Q because nothing came along in the interim between the original show and Generation Q. but you know, they had Les Girls, they had Jenny's Books, there's the Vagina Wig, there's countless things. And although there is a lot of gay media, there is, you know, Curve Magazine, Autostraddle, all these things, but they do not nearly get the clicks and views that they should. And even looking at my own area of, you know, LGBTQ YouTubers, you are treated very differently from the mainstream. And I've spoken about this a bit before, but I know I'm certainly not the only LGBTQ creator that deals with this, in that you are constantly, you know, put on limited, which when that comes to YouTube, you know, they are deeming that your video is not safe for like all advertisers. And even, you know, I know people who have got strikes, and if you go to a lot of my videos and you are not signed into your account, like showing that you're over 18, they actually will put a warning on a lot of my videos that will say like, warning, lesbian content. And you know, really? But I mean, there's so many other things, like YouTube really is not that queer friendly, and there's a lot that, you know, I even know that I can't really say on the platform. And even a lot of the videos, you know, my live streams, because I'm saying even the word lesbian and gay a lot, and some other things, that once I close my live stream, it immediately goes unlimited, because I have to put it in for a review so someone can watch it and see I'm not breaking any of the guidelines, and then they can put, you know, the video on safe for everyone. But it's just one of those things that you have to deal with, unfortunately. Number 8 is the fact that the L word had led me to believe that in West Hollywood, a hairdresser, a young apprentice hairdresser, and for the large part of the series, an unemployed writer slash waitress slash grocery store employee, could live next to a director for an art gallery and a movie producer. So the L word was playing around a bit. I know the houses were obviously like very different, but they're on the same street and they're both in the same area, so a little bit hard to believe their L word. But this is not the most uncommon thing in the world, as I think one of the things that people complain about the most on Friends is the fact that Monica and Rachel, a chef and a waitress, were living in, you know, Monica's grandmother's flat, and although it was rent controlled, it still was a little bit hard to believe. 7 on the list is one that I'm sure, you know, there's definitely varying degrees to this, and it's that no one will ever have a problem in my work, and I guess you could say in my personal life, purely because of my sexuality. And I've spoken before about the fact that I'm extremely lucky. Like, my family, my friends, nobody could care less that I'm gay, and I've never had a bad reaction. But there is just out in the world a lot of people that will not be okay with the fact that you are gay. And I know people are not speaking to their family, that they lose friendships over this, and it is really sad. And there's even people who can lose, you know, their housing or their job. And yes, in the UK, in the US, in a lot of, you know, the European countries, the West, you do have protection and you are completely safe to be out at work or in whatever way. But a huge amount of the world is not only not protected, but they are treated terribly. And also, a lot of the countries, it's illegal to live an out and open life. So I know that we are extremely lucky, us people who can live completely open and free, and I try not to ever forget that. And you know, me having to deal with a few little homophobic comments on YouTube, which for some reason over the last few days I've had quite a few, which I've never really had that before. And I also find it really strange because I'm not, some big YouTuber or some big public figure that you could, like I'm on a TV show and I just happen to be gay. Like, all of my content is gay, and I make that abundantly clear. So the only way you could find me or watch my channel is if you're looking for gay stuff. So that's why I don't understand how these people find me anyway. But I will say that when I look in my analytics, an unbelievable amount of my top 30 countries are countries where it is illegal to be gay, and I know there's people watching this in those countries right now, and my heart absolutely goes out to them, and I hope that some way, somehow, that they're able to live their authentic self sometime, and I just hope that they're safe and that they're doing okay. This next one is probably one of the things that is most unbelievable about the L word, and that is that this entire group of friends over, all of the seasons, that's a lot of characters, that only one character would have a cat and none of them would have a dog. Like, unbelievable. We did get the cat representation in Mr. Piddles, and now in Generation Q, Shane had her dog at the end of season 1, and maybe in about 27 years when we get season 2, we'll find out if Shane still has the dog. So here's hoping, because personally I find it really unbelievable. Especially in LA. Like, I think that lesbians are kind of known for having a cat. Like, a lot of people, joke with me about it, because I am clearly, very obsessed with my cat. But in LA, I think every single lesbian has a dog, so that is also unbelievable. Number 5, I mean, yes, the cat and dog thing is unbelievable, but number 5 is also, the L word led me to believe that there would literally be lesbians everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Every job that you go to, every party, every restaurant, there will just be lesbians everywhere. And I found that absolutely not to be the case. Currently where I live, seriously, I am under the impression that there are 11 lesbians and I am the odd one out. But in general, I mean, even when you go on, when I lived in New York, when I lived in Florida, here in the UK, when you go on the dating apps, it is very, very few numbers. And then, when you're starting to go into, some people like femme, some people like butch, some people like whatever. So it's a very small dating pool already. And just with the L word, and especially characters like Shane and Pappy, and they're literally, picking up multiple girls every single night. A little bit hard to believe, but they do also do this in hetero shows about, the in How I Met Your Mother, the character that Neil Patrick Harris plays. So a little bit unbelievable with the amount of lesbians that they're showing in the L word. Number 4, they did say that lesbians would be everywhere, but number 4 is, I was led to believe by the L word that every lesbian I met would be completely decked out in Free City clothes. And also, Free City clothes are not cheap. I have 2 hoodies, 2 sweatpants, and 3 or 4 shirts, and they are damn expensive, and also only sold in LA, in Paul Frank, and in Kitson. So it's really hard to get your hands on it too. And although it is a great way to find a lesbian, because I don't know any straight people who wear Free City, the L word kind of led me to believe that it was like the day you came out, you would get like your Free City, uniform. So a little bit hard to believe about that one too. Number 3, I will say that this is more towards the OG series, and I do understand they are trying to rectify this now, but the OG series did lead the audience to believe that trans people do not belong in the LGBTQ space, which is just completely not true, because the way that they treated Max in the original, now it's painful to watch. And especially the one scene that always stands out to me is the one where Kit and Max are talking, and Kit's saying to Max, we're losing so many of our butch women, and it's just, it's really unsettling to watch. But again, I am not qualified to talk about this. I am not trans, and once again, I know that some people know what I'm going to say. I will direct people to the brilliant documentary on Netflix, Disclosure, where they don't only just talk about the L word, but they talk about trans representation in the media in general. And they do talk about Max. They do talk about, what they're going to try and do with Generation Q, because Leo Sheng, who plays Micah, and Jamie Clayton, who plays Tess, both appear in it, along with a host of other brilliant people. And I cannot oversell enough how great Disclosure is, how much I personally learned from it. And I know that there's been a bunch of people on this channel who have taken my recommendation and watched it, and have reached out and told me that they really enjoyed it as well and learned a lot. So do yourself a favor and check out Disclosure. Number 2 is one of the things I probably see called out the most about the show, and I even talked about this a little bit in my season 6 episode 1 review yesterday. And I mean, I've talked about this a bunch in tons of videos, and that is that lesbians are notorious cheaters, according to the L word. And it kills me that pretty much every relationship on the L word, there's some sort of cheating. And when you look at like the main couples, there's cheating in all of them. Bette and Tina, Alice and Dana, Alice and Tasha, Shane and Carmen, Jenny and Max, Nikki and Jenny, Shane and Molly, Bette and Jody. The list just goes on and on and on. And it really isn't a great portrayal, especially when people, like if straight people watch the show and that is their only view, and they just think, oh, these lesbians are just cheating on each other. And then also younger queer people watching this and just thinking like this is normal, and basically any lesbian watching it, that's the only representation that we get a lot of the time in the media, and it just bleeds into everything. Like even looking back on other lesbians that have appeared on other shows in the past, like you look at Grey's Anatomy, cheating in that too, and there's just so much of that, and it feeds into that whole like lesbians being like this promiscuous, and it's just not good. It's not good. And seeing it in Generation Q, like there's only been 8 episodes and there's already hella cheating going on. Like Sophie, Finley, Danny, that whole thing, even expanding it outside like the lesbian label, and then like Jose is married and the thing with Micah. And if you're really extending it over from the OG finishing and season 1 of Generation Q, like, okay, maybe Tina physically didn't cheat on Bette, but from what Bette said when she and Shane were talking, Tina did fall in love with someone else, either while they were still married or very close after they had split up. And it's just, I really wish that, yes, cheating happens. Everyone knows that, like, okay, but we need to move away from every character having some cheating storyline. Like, it's just not good representation. And the number one thing that the L Word, I guess, didn't lead me to believe, and this kind of feeds into the whole cheating thing, is the fact that the L Word has been incapable of showing one happy, normal, healthy lesbian relationship that is long lasting. Because, I mean, this is the huge argument for, obviously, like, Bet and Tina and Generation Q, and I've talked about this a lot, so I'll link some of the other videos I talk about this a lot in the description box down below and in the cards above if you haven't seen those already. And it just, I understand why people were so disappointed and angry when the show came back and Bet and Tina were split up, because I felt the same way. I mean, I was really disappointed, and when the trailers started showing for Generation Q just before that, I actually thought that they were going to kill Tina off, because my thought was, Laura Holloman's not coming back, she has another career, she retired from acting, and by killing Tina off, they can still have the image of them the way they were at the end of season 6, this happy, healthy couple. Obviously, then they can still have Bet having relationships and, like, using her character that way and having a love life and not destroying, like, the past with the whole Tina thing. And the only reason, like, I stopped thinking that was when in one of the trailers they showed, you know, Alice, Shane and Bet, and then, like, Shane and Alice do that Tina thing, and, you know, it was funny. But I was like, oh no, so, like, Tina's alive then, because I knew that the storyline with the whole opioids thing was happening, so I actually thought that it was going to be Tina that had the problem, and that was what happened there, and that was what led Bet to run. So, I mean, I could sit here and talk all day about the fact that, you know, people, especially with TV shows, they say, oh, well, it's boring if everybody's happy, and it's boring, and people need, like, drama and things because it's entertainment. And we really don't. We need one stable, happy couple for representation, because if you look back at season 6, like, pretty much the only thing people didn't complain about was Bet and Tina. Like, that was the good part of that season, because the rest of the season was like a hot mess. I mean, maybe soon I'll do a video really particularly about this and, like, Bet and Tina, the representation and them as a couple. So if you're interested in seeing a video that would go, like, more in depth about this, let me know in the comment section down below. But overall, I just really wish that we could have this one stable, solid couple that had stood the test of time, because it's exhausting. And I really, you know, it's nice to see one nice thing that it's just a nice thing, okay? Like, it just, I know that some people, like, don't like them, and that, like, one of the trends as well with people who are newer to the show and they're watching it in 2020, 2021, and this environment where things are very different, and, like, oh, Bet and Tina are toxic and all this stuff, and I just want one nice thing. Like, I'm not asking for a lot. Like, please, can we just have one nice thing? And that goes for any couple. There is just none. Like, I listed them all. Like, nearly all of them have some form of cheating or just really unhealthy dynamics. And I think that, like, when you look at shows like Friends and The Office, and okay, like Ross and Rachel had their crazy shit too, and Pam and Jim, like, they're a really good example of the fact that people don't necessarily want like a lot of drama and tension and issues and cheating. Like Pam and Jim, like, okay, it was difficult for them to get together, but once they did get together on The Office, they stayed together the entire show and were just really cute and sweet, and people really enjoyed it. Like, I just think that sometimes people want to watch like a nice happy story, and you can have the other drama with like other characters and things too, and you can keep things interesting. I think that sometimes it's a little bit like, oh, nothing's happening, let's have someone cheat. So just my own personal opinion, I would like to have one nice thing, so fingers crossed for Generation Q season 2 again, you know, coming in 2027 when we finally get it. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Some things that, you know, the L word was a little bit shady about, and I do have some other plans for similar things to this, like you know, focusing on the show and talking a bit more about particular things. Like, it won't really be this list format, but I'd like to talk about specific topics in the show. And if you have any thoughts on that, suggestions, drop them down in the comment section down below. But I'm thinking about doing like a exploration into some of the main couples too, because again, they're still filming Generation Q. We're not getting it anytime soon, so I'm just gonna keep creating L word content in the hope that that's what you guys want. Of course, you don't want to miss out on any of this L word content, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, because as I said in this video, YouTube be hella fickle with the LGBTQ creators, so imagine if I disappeared from your feed, you would miss me, I know it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If the L word lied to you about any of these things, give it a like, and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to follow me over on social media to keep up with everything L word related in between my videos, as I post quite a lot more over there. And also, if you want to get your hands on some L word merch and support the channel at the same time, there is a link to my L word merch store in the description box down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.